This year, I've decided to do a low buy year.
And you might be thinking, Emily, your motto is already to buy less, wear more. So what's up with the low buy? Well, if you stick around, I will explain exactly why I feel as though I need to do a low buy this year. I'll share with you why I've actually decided to spend more money in certain areas. And I'll share the rules that I've set for myself for this low buy year. If anyone is doing a low buy year as well, please let me know in the comments below so we can chat about it and encourage each other throughout the year as well. Before we start, Happy New Year. I hope you're feeling refreshed and motivated going into the new year. So, why a low buy year? Before I curated my wardrobe and figured out my personal style, I was a fast fashion addict, but I found out all about the bad effects of the fashion industry on the world, and I decided to buy less and wear more of what was already in my wardrobe. However, there was a little bit of a disconnect because I hadn't properly decided to curate my wardrobe when I made the decision to buy less. So I found that I was just left with this wardrobe that I really wasn't happy with. And then I'd imposed these new rules on myself to buy less. And that pulled me into completely different directions. One part of me wanted to be a more conscious consumer, and then the other part of me really wanted to work on my wardrobe and figure out my personal style. So what I kind of did was met myself in the middle. I decided I'm gonna make a really clear, intentional plan of how I'm gonna curate my wardrobe, but I'm gonna do it in a really slow and intentional way. So I knew that that would involve trying a lot of new different styles, selling or donating my old styles, and then taking note of all my likes and my dislikes along the way so that my style would slowly begin to develop. It has been a couple of years now since I decided that. It has truly been a really slow and conscious process, but I feel like I'm now at a place where my style feels really curated, intentional, and on purpose. And I love it. Like, I'm really happy with my style and my wardrobe and all the things that I've figured out about myself. So because there's been so much change over the past few years with my wardrobe and my style, I want to now focus back on that intentional goal to buy less. If I was to roughly guess, I would say about 80% of my purchases last year were really thought out and intentional and planned, and about 20% were still impulse purchases. And it's really that 20% of impulse purchases that I want this low buy to help me tackle. So for me, I've noticed that those impulse purchases are often secondhand. So that I know that this is an area that I have to be really careful with myself. And then another reason why I'm really keen to do a low buy year this year is because this year is the year of finances for me personally. So at the start of every year, I give myself one theme or one overarching goal that I want to focus on. That is something that I want to fix and focus on to then maintain for the rest of my life. So last year was my year of health, and the whole year was about creating habits and goals to become a more healthy, happier human, which was really transformative for me. But this year is my year of finances. I basically want to get my finances really organized and set up better systems and not feel like I'm chasing my tail with money or living paycheck to paycheck. I want to know where all my money's going, and I want to be organized with it. And that's just another reason why I want to do a low buy year this year. For the past 5 or so years, I've been really into intentional living and like living my life according to my values. It's been quite a process, like figuring all that kind of stuff out. And I wasn't aware until a few days ago that low buy challenges can be another way of living intentionally and spending intentionally. So before I let you know all the rules that I've set in place, I just wanted to explain why my low buy year is not just about spending less, but it's more about intentional spending according to my values. So what I mean by that is there are actually some areas that I plan to spend more money, and then other areas where I plan to spend less. For example, health and wellness is a big value of mine. Especially after last year, I have seen how much it has transformed my life. So this year, I really want to make sure that I continue to spend my money on all things to do with health. My gym membership, my yoga membership, my psychologist, my checkups at the doctors, everything like that. Another really random thing that I want to spend more money on this year is getting pedicures. Pampering myself as a mum has been really difficult. It's been a really difficult internal challenge for me to convince myself that my personal self-care is important. And I worked really hard last year making that a priority, but I don't want to now let that slip away. And this all still has to do with my value of health and prioritizing my mental health and doing things that are just for me. So I want to book more pedicures because That's something I enjoy, and I want to maintain getting my hair done because it makes me feel good. But the key is to really make sure that I'm not overspending in those areas, doing any of those things in excess. So I know what a normal amount is for me and what an excessive amount is for me. So I just need to keep that in mind throughout the year. Over the past few years, since finding out about conscious consumption, I've already become way better at using things up before buying new things. So like skincare and makeup and stuff like that. I've also completely stopped buying any like knickknacks for around the house that don't really serve a purpose or bring me joy. So I don't need to focus on these particular areas this year because I already feel as though I'm happy with my consumption around these areas. Okay. So let's talk about the rules that I've set for myself. So for clothing, what I've decided to do is to limit myself to buying 7 items for the entire year. That's a big jump from what I've been doing the past couple of years to curating my wardrobe. So it will be an adjustment for me. That includes secondhand and new. The 7 items can be spread out throughout the entire year, but I think in my head, I'm going to be buying more of them towards winter because that is still the area of my wardrobe that I need to focus on. I thought last year in winter that I could survive without any long sleeve t-shirts. Sydney's nice, but it's not that nice. Like I still need long sleeve t-shirts in winter. So that's definitely on my wish list for this year to buy. A very strict clothing rule that I want to set myself for this year is no impulse purchases. I can only buy from my wardrobe wish list. Very strict rule. A wardrobe wish list is something that I implemented years ago and has been so helpful for impulse purchases. But like I said earlier, I still think about 20% of my purchases have been impulsive. So my main goal is to really improve that. And therefore I'm setting myself the rule of no impulse purchases. So that's going to be really interesting to see how I go with that. So next up is skincare and makeup. And I'm only allowed to try something new if I feel like a current item for me is really not working anymore. This year I really pared back my skincare and makeup routine to feel way more minimal. And it is so refreshing to not have so many things. I really love my current routine and it works really well for me now. So I don't see myself making any massive changes, except for the one thing that I do want to change is my concealer, which I mentioned so many videos ago. I'm still trying to find that good concealer. Once my current one runs out, I'm going to try to test some clean beauty brands. So next is dates and family outings. Here I have set myself no rules because Alex and I hardly get the chance to go on dates at the moment anyway. And it is really important for us to focus on this area at the moment when we can. So I would actually like to spend more money for dates and family outings. We already drink most of our coffees at home during the week, but on the weekend we like to go out for coffees together as a family. And every few days I'll go on a coffee date with my son during the week, which is really special for us as well. So I definitely like to keep all of that the same. Takeaway food. Once again, no hard rules here because I think I'm really enjoying what we're already doing. We already cook majority of our meals at home. We do a weekly shop most weeks when we're organized and we'll get takeout maybe like once a month, maybe twice a month if we've got friends coming over and we just can't be bothered. We love to have pizzas and beers on the floor, but mostly all of our meals are cooked at home. Home decor. So I touched on this earlier. Once again, not super hard rules for this for me because I've already felt like I've managed this area of consumption in my life. However, there's a chance that maybe we might move house. So if that does happen at some stage, then there's a good chance we might need different furniture if we're in a different space, depending on the layout. So yeah, as I've always done, I'll try to find stuff secondhand on Facebook Marketplace and just do it really consciously and slowly. I would also love to hang some artwork and some family photos around the house if we do end up moving. I've only hung one print in this house and we've been here for 3 years. It's in Nate's room. So that is definitely a project I will enjoy if we end up moving. I'd love to know what content you want to see from me this year. So please leave your video requests in the comments below. Oh, one other thing I wanted to say is last year I didn't accept any brand partnerships because I didn't feel as though I had the capacity or the time to do it. And now that my son is a little bit older, I feel like I'm in a better headspace and I feel as though this year I will be able to accept brand partnerships. I'm really picky with who I choose. They have to be the right brand and it has to be something that I really like and I would wear myself, obviously, or something that I would use in my daily life. So I just want to point out that if that happens throughout the year, obviously that with brand partnerships comes gifting. And I just want to be really mindful with that and how that affects the feeling of consumption, because you still get the same satisfaction of getting something new when you get given something from a brand. So I just want to keep that in the back of my head and be really mindful of it as I'm going throughout the year. But yeah, if there's any ethical brands that you guys want me to test out or partner with, let me know and I can see and I can get in contact with them this year, because I definitely feel as though I have the capacity to do brand partnerships this year, now that my little baby is not so much a baby anymore. Okie dokie, that's it. Bye.